when you say the first 2 shots in the fight, they went to the chin, then he quit, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, he just folded, he just quit. I mean, like, in a way, though, not quit like walking out the ring. Quit off like, you know what, I'm just going to try and survive.
Daniel Dubois' mentality has once again become a topic of discussion as he takes on Fabio Wardley for the WBO World Championship. And during a recent sit-down interview, Fabio Wardley has had his say about whether Daniel Dubois will quit or will not quit in this fight. So let's have a look at what Fabio Wardley said, and then we can break this down further.
Do you think when the going gets tough that Daniel maybe doesn't have what you've got?
I think, look, in some fights he has shown that he has shied away from the challenge in some situations, yeah. But in others, again, it swings and roundabouts with him. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, because in other fights he has proven bit down, like Hrgović, for example, and got stuck into that where it was a back and forth fight. He was getting tagged a few and he got fully stuck into that. And then there's been other occasions where he hasn't done. So I think in that scenario, it depends on Daniel and what Daniel turns up on the night and how he feels about the situation and if he feels he can climb his way back or not. And I think sometimes if he's in a situation where he doesn't feel like he can, maybe those inner demons get to him a bit and he just doesn't want it.
Look, there's 2 main questions here. Number 1, can Fabio Wardley get Daniel Dubois to the point where he gives up in this fight? Absolutely. This is heavyweight boxing and Fabio Wardley possesses the power to do so. And then even the most important question, has Fabio Wardley got the style to get Daniel Dubois to that stage where he will give up in this fight? And that is something that I think we have to dissect further and have a look and see how Daniel Dubois gives up and if this is the fight that he could give up. And I want to remind you guys something, right? Daniel Dubois' mentality and the conversation about Daniel Dubois started during this fight against Joe Joyce. And this is a picture of Daniel Dubois literally on his knees, decided not to continue with that fight. And there were so many reasons given by his team as to why he didn't want to continue the fight at this stage. But the truth is, Daniel Dubois was having success before he got stopped by Joe Joyce. And, you know, during the earlier rounds of that fight, Daniel Dubois was landing his jab. He was landing some really big right hands. And at certain stages, he was teeing off on Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce kept really composed. And Joe Joyce was taking those shots. And he was riding those shots. And it looked like Dubois was going to stop Joe Joyce at a certain point in this fight. And then all of a sudden, Joe Joyce started taking control of the fight. He started landing his jab. He started controlling the fight with his jab. And Dubois started to deteriorate when it comes to his confidence and his determination and literally his ambition in this fight. And then we could see that Dubois just didn't want it anymore as his eye was getting close. So the pattern here is that Daniel Dubois, when he's not getting success, it becomes a difficult thing for him to follow. And we can even look at the fight against Jerome Miller. Right, we know that Jerome Miller came into this fight as big as an elephant. You know, he was stuck in cement in this fight, literally in the ring. He wasn't moving his feet. He was marching forward. And Dubois was just teeing off on Jerome Miller, just at will. And Jerome Miller just didn't move his head. And Dubois was having success all night until the 12 rounds. So Jerome Miller did not give Dubois any problem at all in this fight. If anything, Jerome Miller was a punching bag on legs. And Dubois had his way with Jerome Miller. So we could see that Jerome Miller did not pose any threat to Daniel Dubois, or did not take Daniel Dubois to a place where it becomes difficult for Dubois to deal with, where he then decides to give up on himself and not want to fight anymore. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind, because we saw the same pattern in the fight against Filip Hrgović. And once again, this is a fight where Daniel Dubois had a lot of success in the earlier rounds, right? Dubois was landing at will. Filip Hrgović, he's a tough guy. He takes some really good shots in there. And he was just giving Dubois a lot of opportunity to land some big shots. And as you can see there, Dubois just teeing off on Filip Hrgović. And although Filip Hrgović did land some big shots as well on Daniel Dubois, Dubois was able to get Filip Hrgović out of there because of the cut. And because Daniel Dubois hit so hard that Filip Hrgović was not able to, sustain a successful run in that fight. And Dubois, went on to win that fight. So we can see that Daniel Dubois, when he's having success, it's all well and good, and there's no problem. However, the issue becomes a thing when Daniel Dubois is not having success. And that is what we've seen in so many of his fights, especially against Alexander Usyk in the first fight. Daniel Dubois was, looking to land a big shot because he knew that Usyk is very nimble on his feet. Usyk moves too much. Usyk kept turning Daniel Dubois. And, as a puncher like Daniel Dubois, he needs to set his feet to land those shots. And Usyk just didn't give Daniel Dubois the opportunity to land those shots. He kept moving, and Usyk frustrated Daniel Dubois, and Dubois quit on his feet, as we saw in the first fight. And then in the second fight, and we look at this picture here, this is Alexander Usyk celebrating as Daniel Dubois walks to his corner after being counted out by the referee, which a lot of people suggested that Daniel Dubois quit in this fight. And the reason why Daniel Dubois gave up in this fight is because the difference between fighting Alexander Usyk versus fighting someone like a Filip Hrgovic or a Jarrell Miller is that you don't get the opportunity to land the shots that you want to land. And that's exactly what we saw in this fight, in the second fight against Daniel Dubois versus Alexander Usyk, where Usyk, for me, was his most complete performance in the heavyweight division. So look, I think it's very clear. Daniel Dubois does not give up when he's having success. When Daniel Dubois is on the ascendancy, when Daniel Dubois is landing at will, when Daniel Dubois is seeing that he's denting his opponent and he's landing big shots and he's enjoying himself in there, Daniel Dubois does not quit at all. However, it becomes a problem when Daniel Dubois does not get the opportunity to land the big shots that he wants to land, because we know that Daniel Dubois most of the time is going in there not to win fights on point, but to get the knockout. So he's looking to plant his feet and let the shots go. And if he doesn't get those opportunities to land those shots, like against Usyk or against the juggernaut Joe Joyce, he finds it really difficult. And when the other fighter is taking control of the fight and landing big shots, and Dubois can't land any, then this is when Daniel Dubois gives up. So now the question again, has Fabio Wardley got the style to bother Daniel Dubois, to take Daniel Dubois to that place where it is difficult for him to continue the fight, or where it becomes so difficult that Daniel Dubois will give up? I'm not sure about that, guys. I am not really sure, because the truth is that Fabio Wardley gives you a lot of opportunities to land big shots. Like we've seen it in all the fights that he's had, against Joseph Parker, against Justice Hooney, against every single fighter, even against Fraser Clark. Fabio Wardley gives you the opportunity to land shots. He let his opponents in there. Fabio Wardley hasn't got the best feet in the division. Fabio Wardley hasn't got the best head movement in the division. Fabio Wardley is not hard to find. He's always there, and he's always there to be hit. So I think Fabio Wardley is going to give Daniel Dubois a lot of opportunities in this fight. I'm not sure if Fabio Wardley has got the ability to evade the shots that are coming his way. Fabio Wardley is not Alexander Usyk. Fabio Wardley certainly is not a Joe Joyce in terms of, foot maneuver, footwork, and getting away from the shot, like Joyce against Daniel Dubois in the fight. So I think that Fabio Wardley is going to give Daniel Dubois a lot of opportunities for Dubois to tee off on him. So I don't think that Dubois is going to give up in this fight, because I think that Dubois is going to feel confident throughout this fight that he can get something out of this fight. And Fabio Wardley is going to be there. He's going to be present. He's not going to be hard to find. And I think Dubois is going to land some really big shots there. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Fabio Wardley then deals with a Daniel Dubois that is very confident, because he's getting opportunities in that fight. The only way that Fabio Wardley can get Daniel Dubois to give up on himself is that Fabio Wardley can stop Dubois from landing at will. Is that Fabio Wardley can stop Dubois from having any success in this fight. If Fabio Wardley is not able to stop Dubois from having success, then I don't think that Fabio Wardley will be able to get Dubois to give up, because the pattern here shows that Daniel Dubois only gives up if he's not having success. When Dubois is confident, when Dubois is feeling good, when Dubois is on the ascendancy in the fight, it's really hard to get him to give up. When Dubois is not having success and is struggling to plant his feet, to land a shot, then it becomes a thing where Dubois just doesn't know what to do. He loses confidence and he gives up on himself. So look, guys, get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Daniel Dubois' mentality going into this fight. Do you think that Fabio Wardley has got the ability, the style to get Daniel Dubois to that place where Dubois just can't take it anymore? Or do you think that Dubois in this fight will stand firm and not quit? Get in the comment section and let me know what you think about it.